There are as many types of speedruns as there are games. Everyone has something they're looking for. Sometimes it's a laid-back, casual time, a menu-heavy adventure, or a flying by the seat of your pants joyride. At the end of the day, what is important is that everyone is enjoying themselves. However, there is a select breed of speedrunner who focuses on highly skilled, very technical, competitive speedruns. These people love nothing more than to test their skill against others at a game of high consistency and skill ceiling.
One more skip. Please, dude. Come on. Come on. Climb high, turn late. Climb high, turn late. Yes! Let's go. Fucking go. Let's fucking go. Yeah, bitch. Let's fucking go, baby. Let's fucking go.
New releases for gamers such as this are the perfect testing ground, as the playing field is as even as possible. How fast can you route, adapt, and overcome the new obstacles a release may have is for some the ultimate test of speedrunning. This can be seen in games such as Resident Evil 2 Remake, Doom Eternal, and more recently, Ghostrunner. Fans of high-octane speedruns have a few things that they look for when trying out a new game: speed, adaptability, and technicality. Back in May 6th of 2020, when the demo for a new game called Ghostrunner dropped, it had the attention of a lot of high-level speedrunners. People such as Brian Otto, MetAlive, Bloodshot 9001, and Blade Lamau. All high-level speedrunners in their respective games gave great attention to this demo. Its fast-paced cyberpunk action teased what could be one of the best speedruns to come out this year. For those who do not know, Ghostrunner is an indie-developed game made by Polish development studio One More Level and Slipgate Ironworks. Their first collaborative effort together, they sought to create an indie game take on their inspirations, games like Doom, Titanfall, and Hotline Miami. You play as the Ghostrunner, a cyber ninja who goes on a grand quest to free humanity. Basically, you're a badass ninja that can move like really fast. Like their previous game, God's Trigger, you die in one hit, but you also kill everything in the game with one hit. This fast-paced, high-death gameplay is like a mixture of Super Meat Boy and Mirror's Edge. Making sure that the game remains at this fast pace, if you die, you can respawn immediately. There are lots of checkpoints that occur very frequently, and the game is always pushing you forward. The level design is straightforward, but the game looks phenomenal. And it's not just the environments that are pretty. This game has mechanical complexity to back it all up. The thing that really impresses, though, is the intense and complicated movement systems at play here. A highly skilled speedrunner of this game will be doing dozens of inputs, bouncing off every possible wall, and dashing at insane speeds. Expertly taking out enemies and avoiding death pits, all while dashing, sliding, and grappling hooking across this beautiful cyberpunk dystopia. It's really quite miraculous the heights that this game can be pushed with a skilled player behind the proverbial wheel. To explain exactly what makes this game so fun and the speedrun so impressive, I asked Meta to help me out here.
The movement systems in Ghostrunner are incredibly deep, and yet they're easy to pick up, satisfying to pull off, and leave an immense amount of room for improvement for those who want to take the time mastering it. Ghostrunner was a game that was developed with speedrunners in mind from the very beginning. Game director, I'm going to try this here, Radislaw Retsuznik, sorry, definitely messed that up, mentioned in a GDC interview that One More Level was and is very aware of the speedrunning community. During the demo stage of Ghostrunner, the developers joined and were fairly active within the Ghostrunner speedrun Discord, even sometimes asking for feedback on the speed tech they'd implemented. Now, let's take an in-depth look into some of the options you have to traverse the levels of Ghostrunner. Ghostrunner does not come with a dedicated sprint key, but rather has a small acceleration period while holding forward, before you reach the top speed at 10 meters per second after about 3 seconds. Dashing is a very basic mechanic that casual players will definitely use, but is more useful than most players will ever realize. There's two different variations to your basic dash: a ground dash and an air dash. These two kinds of dashes are on two separate cooldowns, which a lot of people don't notice in their first playthroughs. The default ground dash applies to the ground and walls, or basically anytime you're actually touching something. This means you can dash right off the ground or a wall and follow it up with a second air dash. At the start of the game, you're only given one ground dash, but are given the option to add more with upgrades as you progress. These upgrades do not affect air dashes, however, which you will only ever have one of. Speedrunners use combinations of ground and air dashes to fill the space between other tricks or gain that extra bit of distance or height. Wall running is unique in Ghostrunner compared to other movement games in that you will never drop off the wall. There's no stamina system in place, and you can reattach yourself to the same wall if you fall off of it and just run infinitely. There's one really massive advantage to being able to re-grab the same wall, and that's because it allows us to do a trick called wall run climbing. Essentially, wall run climbing is just jumping away from the wall and then dashing back towards it. You can use this to climb higher up on the wall by dashing back at the wall with a slightly higher angle. Alternatively, if you're not too worried about height, you can jump or dash away from the wall and dash right back into it to go faster than a regular wall run. So far, we've only really talked about the lesser known features of known mechanics, but let's talk about some really cool stuff now. Ghostrunner doesn't really allow you to preserve your velocity during movement, so overall your focus is to constantly be doing whatever you can to gain speed. Once again, let's start with the basics and build our way up. First, we've got slide hopping. Simply hold your slide key and time your jump inputs as you hit the ground. This should bring you up between 15 and 17 meters per second. This is really easy for anyone to pick up and is already much faster than regular running, without the slow acceleration period. Next up, the dash slide jump, or DSJ for short. Regular DSJs are done on flat ground and are the most common advanced movement you'll see in a speedrun. Even this isn't really all that complex. The hardest part is maximizing your speed by timing your dash, slide, and jump inputs properly and in the correct order. DSJs are by far the tricks you'll be using the most, and they aren't too difficult and can get you around 30 meters per second, triple the regular running speed. Now for the ledge boost. The ledge boost is where movement starts to get a bit more tricky. In order to get a ledge boost, you need to slide at the end of a ledge and jump right after you've crossed it. After you cross a ledge, you have a short window to press jump. This is called coyote time. Doing these two inputs with the right timing will make you look pretty cool and bring you near 30 meters per second when timed well. Another sweet trick is called the wave dash, sometimes known simply as a super slide. This one's pretty easy, just dash into a slide. You can do this on flat ground, but most of the time you're going to be doing it on downward slopes, as there's better options like the DSJ for flat ground. Here's where things start to get complicated. The SDSJ, or Super DSJ, can get you the most velocity out of anything in the game, reaching about 40 meters per second when done effectively. The catch to SDSJs is you need a ledge to do it, because it's sort of like a mix between a DSJ and a ledge boost. SDSJs are accomplished by essentially just dashing before a ledge, so that you can follow it up immediately with a ledge boost. Obviously, SDSJs are incredibly fast, but they're also incredibly precise. If you could pull these off, you'll have officially earned your Get Good badge. Anyways, that's going to do it for me. Thanks for listening, and I'm going to pass it back to Waifu.
There's a lot of tech in this game, and it can be a bit unapproachable for someone who's never even seen it before. So to make it all simple, all you really need to know is that speed is good and dying is bad. Top runners can get going so fast, in fact, that they will often lose understanding of where exactly they are and fly off a cliff or directly into an enemy. Each encounter in the game is designed for a multitude of approaches though. The developers intended each player to take their own route in dispatching enemies, leading to each player having a unique Cyber Ninja experience. On top of all that, there are 8 different alternate upgrade trees that you can explore. Everything from your dash to reflection, and even individual powers. Unlocked in a Tetris cube, the speedrunner must determine what sort of arrangement best suits certain portions of the run. While the game is paused during this menu, the timer is not. So, it is a calculated decision when to change what. This leads to some pretty incredible routing decisions. Opting to increase blink range can skip some sections, and getting the double Tempest kill refund can speed up late game immensely. It's too early in the speedrun's development to say if there is an objective best arrangement, so each player can explore their own ideas and routing decisions. Getting to see so many high-level players express themselves in different ways is a joy. To elaborate on why they like the speedrun so much, I asked current world record holder for Ghostrunner, Blade the Mao, to talk with us a bit about it.
In terms of mechanics, for me personally, I feel like it just comes down to all the small techniques and the tricks we use to gain speed and keep our momentum when we're running. I feel like there's so many times where I might not get the furthest jump I wanted no matter how much I practiced it. But there's always a way to save it, you know? And if you think fast enough, there's always like a wall. You can always go for a quick mantle. Say you wanted to get on top of something, you could like hit a wall run and then dash up to it, you know? Like there's so many ways to save it when you're running. And even if you don't end up saving it, the checkpoint reset is not that far behind and the respawn is instant, which makes not only practicing routes, but doing it in full long runs pretty forgiving, in my opinion, actually. I feel like it's had pros and cons. A pro is definitely how different my run can be to another speedrunner's. I feel like there's always another route you can take, whether one route might be faster but harder, you can always take a little bit slower but easier, and there's infinite ways to approach a room. There's any wall you see, you can, like, 9 times out of 10 you can wall run on that wall, you know? It's like it just leaves so many possibilities open to people at all skill levels of the game, and I think that the game wouldn't be the same without the devs taking that approach to creating the game, and I think that it's really good. But some of the cons are, like, say there's a big there's this one level called Echoes, and there's very tall skyscrapers, and a lot of them aren't the most detailed and the most worked on in terms of, like, what their collision is. You know, there's some little dodgy spots, so it's kind of tough to say if something is inbounds or out of bounds, which made routing a little bit hard for the different categories. But I think once we get it all fleshed out, and like that won't be a problem anymore. But right now, at the time for learning the speedrun, it's made it a little bit confusing at times, but I'm sure that won't be a problem in the future. It's a simple one, but I think the dash is my favorite mechanic. I've played games like Overwatch where they have Tracer, and the ground dash, at least in Ghostrunner, is very reminiscent of that. Same with Celeste. Celeste dash is really fun. I've speedrun a couple levels in that game, and yeah, it wouldn't be the same without the dash. And I think that I wouldn't really have a good understanding of the dash in Ghostrunner if it wasn't for me playing Celeste, but I think that with how many ways you can use a dash in Ghostrunner, it's like super good for even just playing the game casually, but, you know, also obviously for speedrunning. Even the sensory boost where it slows down time, you'd think that wouldn't be good in a speedrun, but there's a lot of skips where, like, you can get around corners really fast by slowing down time and, like, peeking around it, and it's like just the different creative ways that people have used their dash in runs has been super cool, and I think that the dash is my favorite mechanic. But in terms of full game runs, there's only a couple spots I can think of where upgrading has really impacted the level's time. For instance, there's one spot where having a longer blink ability is better because there's an enemy pretty high up where you need to be, and, you know, taking the time to put on that upgrade to get you up there is pretty crucial for that, actually. But most of the time it's just on a personal preference. Like, the dash upgrades are pretty it really just depends on who you are and what you like. If you like more dashes, you can put on more dashes. If you like one with a really short cooldown, you can use that one, and they really don't affect the times very much, just you and how you play the game. The only place I can think of that has where the upgrading system has a really big impact on the run is like lockdown rooms. I think that it's really crucial to have the Tempest ability, just because of how often you can use it with the multi-kill reset upgrade, and it's like, if I'm gonna be honest, it's pretty broken and really unbalanced, but it makes going through kill rooms, like, in full seconds, like, shorter when you have the correct upgrades on. So in terms of lockdown rooms, it definitely makes it a lot better than it would be if we didn't have the upgrading system. What is your favorite part of speedrunning Ghostrunner? My favorite part of speedrunning Ghostrunner is the community surrounding it. I think that if we didn't have people on the Discord every day finding new strategies, finding new skips, you know, posting their personal bests and other people cheering them on, I just don't think it'd be the same at all. I think I look forward to waking up every day and getting on the Discord to see some crazy skip or like someone beat a world record on a level or something like that. And it's like, it's fun to watch, and then applying that to your runs as well and getting the same tricks that they do in their runs is super rewarding. And we're all there to help each other, and it's actually kind of funny. We're all there competing against each other but also helping each other. It's like, I don't know, it's like super good sportsmanship. And some people are just competing with themselves to beat their personal bests, but when they do, everybody congratulates them, and it's very, very wholesome. It's a super wholesome community, and without it, I don't think it'd be the same.
The game is paced fantastically, but it does not restrict the player's creativity. There are very few death triggers, and most of the level design is open-ended. Almost everything that you can see can be wall run on and jumped off of. The limit is only your creativity. This is especially true with levels like Echoes that have vast city for you to explore. There's a set path that is very obvious to the player, but it is just one of many paths that can be taken. You decide the angle that you take it from, which enemies you kill, and in what order, or you could just straight up run all the way around. In a game like Ghostrunner, where a speedrunner is firing on all cylinders, it is important that there is breathing room for the player. If they are required to play at full focus the entire time, it can get exhausting. In Ghostrunner, between each level, there is an elevator that are essentially small auto-scrollers, and thankfully they aren't very long. Nice 20 to 30 second breaks between each hard section of the game. If that's not enough, the Cyber Void sections of the game were specifically developed to create a break in the pacing. And while they aren't the most beloved sections by speedrunners, they aren't bad enough to make people genuinely upset. This game is basically a perfect speedrun for those looking to get highly competitive. There is a high skill ceiling with its vast and complicated mechanics, very little random elements, and a nice pacing. Lots of the game can be skipped, but not too much. It hits that Goldilocks zone where you don't get bored, but you also don't have to play the entire game. It is currently as low as 40 minutes and can be brought down even further. Now, as much as I sing this game's praises, there are a few issues when it comes to the speedrun. Firstly, the Cybermoy missions, while some can be skipped, are rather annoying. The collision on the floors in those levels are hard to read, and it makes it difficult to do ledge boosts. Besides that, the final boss is horrendously slow, and with no way to speed it up as of this far, is a huge drag on the otherwise almost perfect run. It's only about 2 minutes long, and it's at the very end of the game, but if you get hit once, you lose a lot of progress, and it just feels like you're playing Crash Bandicoot. Take that as you will. Overall though, I can really say this game is a phenomenal speed game. It follows in the footsteps of its incredible speedruns like Titanfall 2, Hotline Miami, and Mirror's Edge. The developers being so supportive of most speedrunners is also super cool to see. If you want any more of this awesome run on your life, make sure to go check out Blade Lamau, Meta Live, Brian Otto, and many more. Links in the description. If you're interested in getting into the speedrun, make sure to join the Speedrun Discord that you can get below in the description. Also, I'm going to be throwing a little contest. The best time in the demo for Ghostrunner, which you can find on Steam in the description below, that is posted in my Discord by the end of the week, will receive a copy of the full game courtesy of myself and Meta. This will be an inbounds run contest, so no going out of bounds, and a video recording of the run must be submitted to me in the Discord. Best of luck to you all, and I hope you enjoy the game. If you like my content, make sure to subscribe, like, and follow me on Twitch as I stream speedruns almost every day. Also, if you like the video content, I do have a Patreon if you want to support that, and there's a $25 tier on that Patreon where I will sit down for about 2 hours with you and help you improve in your speed game or discuss commentary, options for marathon events like Games Done Quick, or anything that you would like. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.